Good morning, everyone. We will get started today. Thank you for joining our monthly training. The topics we'll be discussing is agency administrator and data quality. My coworkers are assisting today with questions, so please feel free to leave any questions you may have in the chat. If you have any question that is specific to your agency, we do ask that please submit us a ticket so we can provide you support. This is the agenda we'll be reviewing today. We will be reviewing the role of an agency admin and the main responsibility, as well as monitoring data quality and data quality report cards. Agency admin role. An agency admin is a staff member at your agency who oversees and manages data that is entered into OC HMIS. They serve as the main contact between your users at your agency and 2-in-1 OC. We recommend that you have two agency admin, a main agency admin and a backup. This is just in case someone is currently out of the office, that there is a second person to support the team. The agency admin provides technical support and troubleshoots common errors, as well as being available to support the HMS user at your agency. The agency admin is also responsible to inform the team about any OC HMS updates, such as meetings and trainings. The agency admin does not need to hold a leadership position or any special title. We recommend assigning the agency admin role to someone who is familiar with your agency data. It's as mentioned, it's recommended to have a main agency admin and a backup. Main responsibility of an agency admin. Your first responsibility is maintaining users at your agency. You will assist new users with setting up their training accounts, and once they have completed the trainings as the agency admin, you will submit the HMIS account update and test form to the help desk for grading. You will also inform the HMS help desk when a user is no longer at your agency and their account needs to be deactivated. And an important part of managing user is providing further training to your team. For example, the HMS help desk will provide the skill test feedback form so the agency admin can identify any gaps the user may have and provide further training. Requesting additional agency access. The primary agency will need to review and approve for partner agency staff to gain access to their agency. The partner agency will reach out to the primary agency and provide a list of users and their emails for review and approval. The primary agency will submit the HMS account update form on behalf of the partner agency to the HMS help desk. And we will be reviewing this in this slide. So for this example, agency A is the partner agency and agency B is the primary agency, and they develop a collaboration. Agency B is the lead agency and will have the project set up under their agency. Agency A will need to request access to agency B to enter data into the collaborative project. Agency A admin will send a list of staff that needs access to agency B for review. Agency B will then review that list and approve users that need access. They will then submit the HMS account update form on behalf of agency A and include all the staff from agency A that needs access. In this example, you can see that agency B is the primary agency. So the agency B admin is actually the one that submits this form on behalf of agency A that for all the staff that needs access to their collaborative project. This is not part of your responsibility per se, but it is a good idea to keep in mind when there's a change within your agency. The executive director will need to inform the HMIS help desk if there's an update to the agency admin. Or the current main agency admin could submit a form regarding the updates as well. As the agency admin, you are responsible to communicate topics related to HMS, such as updates and topics discussed at meetings such as users or data meetings, to ensure that your users are getting the emails and messages so they can attend user meeting and trainings. We will do a deeper dive into providing technical support to your HMIS user team. The agency admin is the first line of technical support. Agency admins are encouraged to use the knowledge base articles to solve any issues that may come up. For example, a user may encounter an error by accidentally enrolling a head of household without the additional household members, which results in an individual enrollment instead of a group enrollment. You can search in our knowledge base article and support the user to go through the step to fix this by re-enrolling the whole household as a group. When you or your team encounter an error that you cannot resolve, please escalate those issues to the HMIS help desk. A friendly reminder that only agency admins should submit tickets to the HMIS help desk. We have been receiving increasing numbers of tickets submitted by users or users using their agency admin credential. This is an issue because requests are submitted on your behalf without your knowledge. So we advise that all agency admin remind your users to submit their questions to you directly so that you can support. And if the issue is not resolved between your team, to please escalate it to the HMIS help desk. Here are best practice and tips in submitting tickets. Provide as much detail as possible so the HMIS team can recreate the error you're encountering. Please do not include personal identifying information. Instead, include the client's unique identifier, which is listed on the client's profile. Screenshots are also great for us to see the error you're encountering, but please remember to remove any identifying information. When it comes to report, please include the report names and the filters you use to run the report. And as always, please check our knowledge base articles to review some common issues and how to troubleshoot those. Also, please feel free to share any topics or ideas for knowledge-based articles. We are happy to create new articles to help users better understand the functionality of Clarity. Another responsibility is that you're in charge of the privacy and confidentiality of your agency data. You should monitor compliance with the standard of confidentiality within the HMIS policy and procedure. This covers the collection, at entry, and retrieval of data in HMIS. Please inform your team if there are any security violation. They need to inform you immediately, and then escalate the security violation to the OC HMIS help desk. Agency audit. This year we started our audit in June, so please keep an eye out for your agency audit. If you haven't received an email, you will be receiving an email soon about the agency audit. There are 4 responsibilities: completing and submitting the agency audit form, and submitting the agreements before the scheduled audit meeting, conducting security check with all the users at your agency that uses HMIS, and of course, attending the audit so that we can further discuss your agency usage of HMIS. In this next section, we will be monitoring data quality. We will start with what is data quality. Data quality refers to the reliability and comprehensive of our data. HUD breaks down data quality into 4 components: data timeliness, data completeness, data accuracy, and data consistency, which we will further discuss in the following slides. Data timeliness. HUD refers data timeliness as the degree data is being collected in HMIS and is available when needed. Data timeliness is measuring the time the data is collected and when it's entered into HMIS. It's important to enter data in a timely manner to ensure data recorded in HMIS reflects the most current information on the client served by participating projects. This is achieved by entering the client data into HMIS as soon as possible. We will review data timeliness by running the data timeliness report to ensure we are keeping within the threshold of 3 days of collecting the data. This pertains to all stages of data collection, which is project start, assessment, services, and project exits. We have a detailed and summary version of this report. In details, we are reviewing it by client. In details, we are reviewing it client by client regarding data timeliness, and in the summary, we are reviewing each project as a whole. I wanted to note that all the report and data shared today is pulled from our training site, so it's all fake data. On this slide, we will review the details data timeliness report. We are comparing the project start date with the date the data was entered into HMIS. The details report represent client level data, so you're able to see each client enrolled in the reporting period you filter. So we are reviewing project start date and the day the data was created. And you can see in this column, it tells you how many days it took for the data to get entered into HMIS. We will now review the summary data timeliness report, which groups the clients into categories. For example, we will review the Springfield Homeless Shelter and their project summary. There are 7 clients that took more than 30 days for their data to be entered into HMIS. This is something you would want to avoid. So by running this report, you can get a quick snapshot of your agency data timeliness. The assessment and services and project exit reports are formatted as the same as the example you're reviewing right now. So you can see the Springfield Homeless Shelter, and these are the different categories of when data is entered to HMIS. And this is an example of the 7 clients that were entered more than 30 days, the data that were entered into HMIS. After reviewing the report, you may ask yourself, how can we improve our data timeliness? We are unable to change what happened in the past, but this is a starting point to improve data quality moving forward. We recommend running the data timeliness report on a monthly basis to review your agency data timeliness. This is a helpful tool for you to review in which stage there's a delay with data entry and give your team some guidance and support to ensure data is entered into HMIS in a timely manner. You will be able to see improvement over time. HUD defines data completeness as the degree all required data is known and documented. This measure looks at valid responses for all required data elements. Data completeness exclude answers that are data not collected, client doesn't know, and client refuse. It's important to ensure the data recorded in HMIS represent the population served. If we have any missing data, we will have information gaps within our system, which impedes us from fully understanding and analyzing our data as a whole. To achieve data completeness, we need to review and try our best to answer all required data elements. We will review data timeliness by comparing it to the data threshold for each community by project type and data elements. UDE is for universal data element. PST is for project-specific data element. You may notice that street outreach threshold are lower than other project type. There are a handful of variables that goes into determining the threshold for each project type. Your agency may have a process in place and specific reports that you run, which is great. We would like to recommend that you add these data completeness report to your process to run on a monthly basis. These are client level data where you can review within 3 data elements: the universal data element and the project specific data element at entry and exit. These reports are located in the data analysis tab, and you can locate it under the category data quality. This is an example of the Universal Data Element Completeness Report. You can see there are some missing data element which are blanks. Please note that not all blanks are data completeness error, and we can review this in the next slide. And responses such as client doesn't know, which is defined as data completeness errors. An important note to take into account is which client are required to answer which data element. You can see from this table, there is a list of data elements and it's defined by which client should answer the data elements. You can see that some are listed for all clients and some are listed for head of household and adults. As mentioned, not all blanks are data completeness error. It could be not required and not applicable to a client, such as a minor will not be required to answer if they are a veteran, therefore, there would be a blank for that field. To recap, data completeness, when reviewing the report, you need to identify any missing information. This could be blanks, data not collected, as well as client refused or doesn't know. We need to try our best to complete the data when possible. HUD defines data accuracy as the degree to which the data entered into HMIS reflects the real information of the client served and services provided. It's important to ensure the data recorded in HMIS are reliable and valid. This is achieved by clients providing real information and the staff entering the data into HMIS correctly. While it's not always the easiest to define, we will share in the following slides some tools that may help your data reviews. Data accuracy could be broken down further into two parts. The first is that the data entered into HMIS is congruent with HUD data standards. In other words, we need to verify that the data is logical and makes sense per HUD data standards. For example, some example of data accuracy errors are a household without a head of household, invalid social security number, incoherence in disabling condition, typos with dates, for example, date of birth is after the project entry or project end date is prior to project entry. The second part is verifying the information we recorded is real information provided by the client that reflects their real situation. We recommend reviewing the data accuracy dashboard on a monthly basis and ensuring the data represent the population your agency serves. When you're reviewing this dashboard, review each section to make sure it reflects the population you serve. And you can see that they do in this dashboard has totals and the demographic information. There are some recommendations to add to your review to ensure the data accuracy. We recommend as an agency admin, you should establish a process and procedure to review data on at least a monthly basis to ensure the data entered into HMIS represents the client's information accurately. Each agency operates differently, so you would know best what would work for your agency. A tip we can offer regarding some common errors that may come up, such as misspelling of names or date of birth, is asking staff to compare the collected information to the client ID card. Most agencies complete the intake on paper form and enter it into HMIS. A helpful tip here is having a second set of eyes to check the data that's being entered into HMIS. Some agencies find it helpful to conduct internal audits to check their data accuracy. We want to emphasize that it's more preferable to enter client doesn't know or data not collected than to enter inaccurate information. Our last recommendation is that to advise your case managers to review the intake to fully understand the questions to help the client through the process, as well as explaining the questions and responses in case the client may not understand. HUD defines data consistency as the degree to which the data is collected and stored among all participating agency in OCHMIS. This directly affects the data accuracy because without consistency, we do not have accuracy. This is achieved by having the same understanding of collecting client data. We recommend that all users review the HMIS cheat sheets to ensure they understand the data element that's being collected and recommendation how to collect the client information. And our cheat sheets are located on our website. And you can see that if you go to the HMIS Help tab, it's listed in the drop-down list. This is an example of one of the cheat sheets. This cheat sheet gives an overview of how to create a profile and program enrollment in HMIS. There are also recommendations on how to ask questions so that the client understand what's being asked and they could provide an accurate answer to their current situation during intake. This is a helpful tool for staff to review to assist client during the intake process. Now, I would like to discuss about the common data quality errors and most importantly, how to fix them and how to avoid them. The most severe data quality error that we could have, at least in terms of reporting and especially HUD reporting, is relationship to head of household error. So we know that we should have one and only head of household at any given time. That means a household cannot have more than one head of household. And there should always be one head of household assigned for each enrollment. Let's see the first scenario with an example. Let's suppose we have the Samsung household in a group enrollment. If I select Homer and Marge as both the head of household, meaning that I select self in relationship to head of household for both, as you can see here, the system will automatically assign me an error message and I cannot save my progress until I fix this. So now let's see the second scenario with another example. I'm going to be using the Simpson household again, but this time I will not select any head of household. This means that no one is self in the relationship to head of household, as you can see here. So in this case, the system will also show me an error message and I cannot save my changes until I fix this. You might be wondering if Clarity warns me of this error in both scenarios, the first one when I have more than one head of household and the second when I don't have any head of household, how can we have this error and why is it common? This mostly happens when a head of household leaves the project while the rest of the member remains enrolled in the same project. Let's see an example. Let's suppose I enrolled the Simpsons on January 1st of 2017 and I assign Homer as the head of household. And then I exit Homer on January 1st of last year. But the rest of the Simpsons remain active in the project. So after Homer leaves the project, the Simpsons don't have any head of household assigned anymore. And if I ran a report for 2020, I would get an accuracy error because the Simpsons don't have a head of household assigned for that period of time. So they had a head of household from 2017 to 2019, but they did not have a head of household for 2020 because Homer left the project on January 1st. And this is violating the rule that there should always be one head of household at any given time. How do we fix this error? As soon as Homer leaves the project, I should first reassign the head of household to a new member. And in this case, I'm going to assign it to Marge. And then I need to correct the other members' relationship to head of household to reflect their relationship to the new head of household. So in this case, I don't need to change the relationship of Lisa and Bart because they're still head of household child. But I will need to change Homer's relationship from self to head of household spouse because he's no longer the head of household. And that's how we fix this error. So we should remember that every single time a head of household leaves the project alone, we need to first reassign a new head of household and then adjust the other members' relationship to the new head of household accordingly. Another very common and severe error is related to disabling condition. This happens when there is an incoherence between disabling condition and the specific disability. So we know a client is considered to have a disabling condition if A, they have a specific disability that is expected to be long-term and impair the ability to live independently, or if a client has a developmental disability or HIV/AIDS. Let's see the first example. If any of the long-term follow-up questions of disabilities we have highlighted here is yes, then the disabling condition should be yes as well. But since I have it selected as no for disabling condition, I will have an error. Let's look at the second example. If a client has developmental disability or HIV/AIDS, in other words, if I select yes for either of these disabilities, then the client is also considered to have a disabling condition. But since I have no for disabling condition, then I also have an accuracy error. So after you enter your data, we recommend that you go through and review to ensure that you provided the correct information. The last severe error we will discuss today is completeness error in date of birth. When we select data not collected for date of birth, there's no way for us to know the client's age. And this is a big issue because without the age, we cannot determine the household type. This is very severe for HUD reporting, especially with HIC and PIT and LSA. What can we do about this? If a client doesn't know or refuse to give a date of birth, please ask the client to estimate their age and enter January 1st and that estimated year. Then select approximate date of birth reported for data for the quality of date of birth field. In this way, we will have an age and will be able to determine the household type. There are other data elements that are sensitive to errors as well, meaning they have a significant negative effect in data quality and performance. An example of these are project start, date, project exit, destination, and living situation question. It's usually data completeness errors, so your team needs to go into the system and review the data and enter any missing information when possible. Now let's talk about data quality report cards. The report cards allow us to assess the data quality of our system as a whole. This is our process. The HMIS help desk will send the data quality corrections to the agency admin with instruction and a color key to identify errors. Agency admin and their team will review the spreadsheet and complete the data corrections by the due date. The HMIS help desk will then rerun the report and publish the report card on our site. This is the schedule and due date so that you can plan accordingly with your team to review and fix data errors found in the data quality report cards. Now let's take a deeper dive into each step. The first step is that the HMIS help desk will upload the data quality correction spreadsheet into each agency's Dropbox. All agency admin have access to the Dropbox. And if you don't know if you have access, please send a ticket so we can check that for you. This spreadsheet is highlighting data completeness and data accuracy errors. Highlighted in orange, we have client doesn't know and client refuse responses. In gray, we highlight missing responses. This could be either blank or data not collected. And in pink, we have data accuracy issues, like the example we reviewed earlier, related to disabling condition and relationship to head of household. So what should we do? What should you do when you get the correction spreadsheet? Review all the responses that are highlighted, and then you should identify errors that can be corrected. We understand that you cannot correct everything, like, for example, client refuse or client doesn't know. But as an agency admin, you should acknowledge these responses. Also, it's important to realize the severity of the issue. As we discussed, things highlighted in pink are accuracy issues in the sense that they constitute incoherence in the data, and they should be corrected. And as a reminder, all corrections are done in HMIS and not on the spreadsheet. So when you get your spreadsheet, review all the highlighted errors and go into the system and correct it within HMIS. The last step is to publish the data quality report cards. You can see on this report, it's showing the completeness and accuracy of the universal data element. On the left side, you'll see the list of data element, and on the right, you'll see a percentage of the quality of the data responses. Green represents all valid answers, pink represent data accuracy errors, and so on. We are looking at the percentage of all project in the COC. We also have an average data completeness score, which indicates the percentage as a whole. And we also have this drop-down list where you can filter to your project. Data timeliness is also included in the data quality report cards. Data timeliness refers to the degree which data is entered into HMIS. This tracks data at 3 stages: at entry, services, and exit. You can see it's grouped into timeframes indicated by the color key above the bars. There's also a drop-down list, so you can also, again, filter to your project. To recap our discussion today, as the agency admin, you are the manager of the data quality at your agency. In addition to all the responsibilities we discussed at the beginning, you're in charge of monitoring your agency data quality and creating a procedure to review the data that addresses the 4 components we discussed. To help with your process, we recommend using the tools we discussed in this training, such as reports, cheat sheets, dashboards, and knowledge-based articles. Think of data quality as best practice for the whole process of entering data to prevent and avoid errors. It's important to train your team to understand the data entry process so they can avoid errors. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Feel free to submit any questions that you may have. And I'm going to be sharing a link to the survey so you can give us feedback on the training. We would like to hear from you so that we can improve on this training. The team and I will stay on for a couple more minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat box.